Hi, and welcome to our informative media vlog with me, Josh Patterson.
And me, Ryan Childs. Today we are going to be talking about the media company Sony, a Japanese multinational conglomerate located in Kona Minato, Tokyo, Japan.
The company's main focus is electronics, games, entertainment and financial services. They are one of the leading manufacturers of electronic products in the world, ranked 105th on the 2014 list of Fortune Global.
Sony have had a huge array of successful films, the most popular box office figures coming from the Spider-Man trilogy. Spider-Man 1 earned $403 million, Spider-Man 2 $373 million, and Spider-Man 3 $336 million. The fourth most successful film was Skyfall, earning again a huge number, $304 million.
Their competition is other media conglomerates such as Warner Bros, Paramount, Disney. These companies are known as the Big Six in America. They compete against each other year after year to try and get the top box office figures and the highest ratings on their films.
Sony are horizontally and vertically structured because they can make the film in their own studios and then release it onto their TV channels that they own in Japan. Also, it has money in other electronics like TV and phones and gaming as well, which makes it horizontally and vertically structured because they own a large array of companies.
A lot of people ask the question, how successful are these companies? Well, at the moment, Sony is worth around $17.7 billion. They make this money from their top box office sales, but at the moment, investors and stockholders and the general market now value Nintendo higher than all of Sony. This is mostly down to their failing movies such as The Amazing Spider-Man and having to cancel other Amazing Spider-Man films that are coming out. Also, due to the high demand in the laptop division such as Apple, they are now failing in this market.
These big six media conglomerates own over 95% of all media, and people see this as a huge breach of power because they can control and influence everything that we watch as viewers. They can market all their own products, and people believe that this is unfair because independent studios who have more original ideas, they can't get their word out, they can't produce their own films because they have such competition with Sony. It's really difficult for independent studios to release their own films.
Sony, at the moment, are always developing their technology. Their latest development is a 4K TV. This means the TV screen has the minimum resolution of 3,840 pixels wide and 2,160 pixels high, making it the equivalent of two 1080p screens in height and 2 in length. This resolution was originally known as Quad HD, and it is used by basically every 4K TV. Sony are also changing the gaming world with their new PlayStation 4. The pros of this is the games have unbelievable graphics for the price. They have took time and thought into how to create a better controller for the gamer, with improving the triggers, having a speaker on it, better analog sticks, even got a touchpad. This PlayStation Store works better, and Sony have developed all this to change the world of gaming.
With Sony constantly developing new technology, it only makes sense that cinema will improve as well. They've added IMAX recently in most local cinemas, so the screen's curved. It's a lot better experience. The frames are higher, the chairs are comfier with speakers in the back, so it makes for a much more enjoyable viewing experience. But they'll also be adding 4D, which Josh will talk about.
Well, in 4D, your chair will move. You'll have like a little seatbelt on. Nothing too extreme. Just a little seatbelt. For example, say if you was watching Shrek, like I watched Shrek, and if you was going down a slide, for example, you'd get the air, you'd get a little gust of wind, and then say if you went into a water, you'd get a little splash of water on your face, and your chair would move as the character moves. Like not just as they were walking, for like a dramatic movement. Say if they was like having a wrestle or something, maybe the chair would definitely move.
So it makes the viewer much more engaged, and it can only mean a huge improvement for cinema, and it'll make it a much more powerful experience every time you go.
The BBC is funded by the government as it is a service, and this is funded by the TV licence, which every person in the UK has to pay if they have a television or use one. This money is then used to make the programmes that are shown on the BBC channels, such as EastEnders, Crime Watch, etc. The money is broken down to around £12.13 per household, with that money spent on all the different things to do with the BBC. These costs are broken down to £8 on television, £2.30 on the radio, 61p for online. Production costs and other services are at 73p, and the licence fee collection and other costs running at a solid 49p.
The next question is, how are the BBC structured? So, separate operational areas manage the day-to-day working of the BBC. These include the Director General's Office and Executive, Radio, BBC North, Finance and Business, Digital and Strategy, News Group and Television. The BBC also has 3 commercial subsidiaries: BBC Worldwide, BBC Studios and Post-Production, and BBC Global News. The BBC is established under Royal Charter. The current charter came into force in 2007 and runs until the end of 2016. It explicitly recognises the BBC's editorial independence and sets out its public purposes.
Under the Charter, the BBC is governed by the BBC Trust, which sets the strategic direction of the BBC and has a clear duty to represent the interests of the licence fee payers, which is us. The Trust sets purpose, remits, issues, services licence and holds the Executive Board to account for its performance in delivering BBC services. The Trust works closely with national audience councils in order to understand the needs and the concerns of the audiences. Government responsibility for broadcasting and creative industries in the UK lies with the Department for Culture, Media and Sport. This is also known as DCMS. Ofcom is the independent regulator and competition authority for the UK communications industries, with responsibilities across television, radio, telecommunications and wireless communications services. Of course, the BBC is one of the most successful businesses. It is a conglomerate and is a worldwide company. Its news channel can be seen in any country in the world, but this company has had some complaints with the BBC Trust website because BBC Three, the 11-year-old channel, is getting closed down. The Save BBC Three campaign has had more than 265,000 people who have signed the campaign to try and save the channel from being axed from our television screens.
So every TV user in the UK has to pay a licence fee, but what debates are there about the usefulness of this licence fee? It helps preserve the BBC's quality control and protects it from any outside interference, allowing for independent editorial control. That's why the BBC is still the world's leading broadcaster, respected and trusted around the world. The licence fee isn't overly expensive either, asking for the adequate amount needed to produce high-quality content. The licence fee helps maintain existing services and deliver new ones to constantly remain fresh. It is stated that the ethos of the BBC is to deliver high-quality programmes, content and services. This means that cheap copycat programmes could not be accepted. Research shows that most licence fee payers would spend more if it meant better content and services from the BBC. If the licence fee gets dropped, then this could mean a decrease in quality, causing the audience to suffer and gain nothing from the money that they have been investing for so many years. However, other arguments state that the BBC did not listen to the audience and the licence fee should have been scrapped years ago. For some people, the fee may be too expensive and they have to sacrifice certain necessities in order to pay for it. The BBC even claims the right to conduct surveillance on what you might be watching, which is a huge breach of privacy against the general public. You cannot watch New Delhi TV without having to pay the BBC first. Most foreign TV channels should be way out of the BBC's jurisdiction.
The BBC. Who is their competition? A good question, asked by many. Their competition are more commercial channels such as Channel 4 and ITV. These are commonly known as Channel 1, 2, 3, 4 on most channel boxes such as Sky or Virgin. Their competition will be from programmes, for example, the BBC's programme The Voice will be in competition with The X Factor. Apart from The X Factor gets better viewing figures and ratings than The Voice, leaving people thinking that the BBC should use the money that they get from their licence fees in a much more better way. Also, other programmes that they'll be in competition with is like EastEnders, Coronation Street, along with Hollyoaks from Channel 4. These channels will all be in competition to get the best ratings. New technology used by the BBC is BBC iPlayer. This is technology where if you miss your program on a certain BBC channel, then you can go back onto the internet and watch this anytime you like. This is a good thing for today's modern day people, because a lot of people don't have time to be home and on the settee ready to watch EastEnders at 7 o'clock. This enables you to watch this whenever you like.
Another great feature is BBC On Demand, where you can binge watch all your favourite shows that you've missed. So they're all together, great quality, and you can watch through each season just on your couch in an entire day. And this constantly gets updated, so you can never miss an episode. So next for technology, the living room of the future, they'll have like implemented seats and like chairs and stuff like that with speakers in them, touchscreen technology, so you can control everything from where you're sitting. They'll have like voice commands and holograms and stuff, so you can like click on everything and never have to move.
Another thing that they'll have is you have a remote control on your phone or your iPads, your tablets, so you won't even have to move out your chair or have a television remote.
They'll have like IMAX style TVs, so they'll be curved and they'll be like 90-inch in like 4D and stuff like that. They'll be really impressive with like amazing quality, and the FPS will like be huge, like thousands of pixels like on one screen. So it'll be really impressive, and the quality will just get better and better, so it's like better than the human eye. Like we won't be able to comprehend what we're seeing. It'll be so good.
And we'd just like to finish and say thanks for listening, and we will see you again.
Cheers, guys.
Bye bye.